I never imagined that as a lowly skeleton, I would be forcibly taken under the wing of a wealthy demoness. She even went to great lengths to restore my body, all just to make it easier to continue her bloodline. It was because I with my lowly bloodline defeated an epic bloodline. It turns out I was originally a max-level Hell Asura in the world of Illusion Moon. Even the strongest humans were like ants to me, but just as I was about to log off after defeating them all, the system suddenly popped up with a bunch of garbled text. When I woke up I didn't return to reality. Instead I found myself in a graveyard, and my level had been reset to 1. As I was pondering what was going on, a sinister laugh suddenly interrupted my thoughts. It seems my summoning was successful. Seeing someone I hurriedly asked them where this was. The necromancer was stunned that I could talk. Did they summon a rare breed of skeleton guard? But as they stood there dumbfounded not answering my question, decided to leave and find an NPC to ask for information. But when he saw this he became furious. He couldn't accept that the creature he summoned was ignoring him. Immediately began chanting a spell. Countless iron chains emerged from the summoning circle behind him. In an instant they restrained me, leaving me unable to move. He then reached out his hand to erase my consciousness, intending to make me a loyal servant. Suddenly a massive figure descended from the sky. The terrifying shockwave sent me flying. What happened next completely left me speechless. A giant creature walked past me. Under its feet was the lifeless body of the necromancer. At that moment I realized I was definitely not in the beginner's village. Soon the guiding spirit explained to me that this was the origin point of all high-level bosses in Illusion Moon. It was also the most dangerous area in the game. Luckily the nearest quest point wasn't far from here. With the spirit's guidance I finally reached Blood Moon City. I saw a long line of people waiting to enter. I couldn't understand why they weren't using the smaller gate on the right. Being the clever person I am, I didn't hesitate to step through that gate. Once inside I realized too late. There was an arena hosting a deadly competition. The participants were all incredibly strong and talented warriors. And somehow I had accidentally entered as a contestant. Seeing that I was only level 1, everyone thought I was just a joke. At that moment the host announced the rules of the competition. Since one of the contestants is only level 1, all participants' levels will be adjusted to level 10 for this match. Contestants can freely choose their class. Without hesitation I chose the assassin class. After all I was once known as the server's top assassin. At that moment the host announced the rewards for the match. Participants who perform exceptionally well could have a chance to become disciples of Blood Moon City's top 2 powerhouses. One is the renowned master of the Northern Moon Hall Zhuang Wai Shui. The other is Blood Moon City's #1 beauty Wu Yu. Her only disciple is Han Yi Xiao, the undefeated champion of 10 matches in the arena. Hearing this my heart trembled. It's my elder brother. Finally a clue about him has surfaced. Back then my elder brother vanished after entering this game. Upon hearing this my younger brother and I also joined the game to search for him together. It seems Wu Yu must know something about my elder brother's whereabouts. I have to find a way to get close to her. However the cold and aloof Wu Yu noticed me staring at her intently. She seemed to have the urge to crush me on the spot. Then the host announced that the competition officially began. The first match featured the seed contestant Bloodclaw of the Bloodlion clan. With his superior bloodline talent, he defeated his opponent in a single effortless strike. The second match featured the great swordsman Bailey, who easily bisected his opponent with one slash. The third match saw the twin-blade demon Gare claim an easy victory. What shocked everyone however, was that the winner of the fourth match was me, a cannon fodder skeleton. Next came the semi-finals. My opponent was none other than Gare the twin-blade demon. As soon as the match began he told me to forfeit. Trash like you isn't even worth my effort, he sneered. Since I was busy thinking about how to approach Wu Yu the boss, I didn't even register his taunts. Seeing I had no intention of surrendering, he smirked slightly. You just missed your only chance to survive. But don't worry, I'll make your death quick. With that he unleashed a cross slash, and dashed toward me with lightning speed, slashing down with his blade. But I easily dodged his attack. Gare thought it was just a fluke. He then gathered strength with both hands. The next second 2 terrifying sword auras shot toward me. Yet again I dodged them effortlessly. The host witnessing this scene couldn't hide his shock. How is this cannon fodder contestant doing this? He managed to dodge Gare's fierce attacks repeatedly. That's because I had already seen through his weaknesses. By analyzing the length of his arms and weapons, I accurately calculated his attack range. As long as I stayed 2.5 meters away I'd be safe. Moreover his skills left him momentarily stiff. If I counterattacked in that instant I could win. At this point the audience began doubting Gare. Are you toying with us? How can you not handle a mere skeleton? Hearing this Gare was utterly enraged. He was desperate to chop me into pieces. He leapt into the air launching a flash slash at me. But this was exactly what I had been waiting for. I seized the opportunity and used my skill critical strike. And just like that the twin-blade demon Gare fell. The host was stunned speechless at the sight. Meanwhile the audience erupted into cheers. However, I didn't win the recognition of Blood Moon City's two powerhouses. They simply thought I had a slightly sharper mind than others. After all, in their eyes, the skeleton race has the lowest bloodline rank. Meanwhile, on the other side of the arena, Bloodclaw was fighting Bayley. Bayley, wielding his greatsword, turned into a flowing strike aimed at Bloodclaw. But Bloodclaw didn't dodge or block, letting the sword come at him. Just as Bayley thought he had succeeded, Bloodclaw smirked and taunted. The gap in bloodlines is a chasm you'll never cross. The moment he finished speaking, he caught Bayley's greatsword with his teeth. With incredible biting force, he shattered the sword instantly. Then Bloodclaw unleashed his explosive frenzy claw on Bayley. Bayley fell to the ground lifeless. Bloodclaw puffed up with pride. I thought you might have some skill. You're just trash. Hearing this, Zhuang Weishui began to appreciate him, thinking he might be worth cultivating. But Wu Yu disagreed, feeling he wasn't even fit to guard her gate. I, however, watched Bloodclaw and fell into deep thought. The standardized weapons shouldn't break so easily, unless this lion's stats were far above average. At that moment, Bloodclaw turned his gaze to me and mocked. "A-level trash. Are you too scared to step up? Your granddaddy here isn't done playing yet." I knew I had almost no chance of winning against him, but if I didn't win this match, I wouldn't be able to get close to that woman to find clues about my brother. At the same time, Wu Yu seemed to expect me to keep fighting. After much deliberation, I decided to step back into the arena. Seeing me dare to step into the arena again, Bloodclaw let out a burst of wild laughter. "Lowly creatures are just stupid. One little taunt and you take the bait. I'll crush your bones one by one and use them as dessert to celebrate my championship victory." Hearing this, my eyes narrowed. Seems your barking skills aren't half bad. With that, I turned into a streak of light and dashed toward him. Bloodclaw, however, remained motionless and taunted. "Your speed isn't even as fast as Bayley's." But just as he reached out to block my attack, I flashed behind him in an instant. Yet even this lightning-fast move was caught by his reflexes. He bent down and effortlessly dodged my strike. Realizing I missed, I quickly pulled back. The next moment, Bloodclaw's counterattack came crashing in. Luckily, I had already retreated and barely dodged his blow. Even my greatest strength speed gave me no advantage. His stats were clearly far higher than mine in every way. However, Bloodclaw suddenly noticed a small wound on his face. He couldn't accept being wounded by a lowly creature, so he used his trump card without holding back. For the next 15 seconds, his speed, strength, and critical hit rate increased by 20%. Seeing this, Wu Yu couldn't help but look forward to my next performance. At that moment, Bloodclaw moved, triggering a violent explosion. In the blink of an eye, he appeared right in front of me. I didn't have time to react and hurriedly blocked with my arms. The force was so powerful it sent me flying hundreds of meters. Just as I regained my balance, his skill explosive frenzy claw was already right on top of me. Seeing this, I revealed my hidden strength completely. As I activated my backstab skill, my shadow form became an illusion. The next second, my real form appeared behind Bloodclaw. This was the moment I had been waiting for. I guess you can't turn around when you use that skill, right? But to my surprise, Bloodclaw laughed. You planned well, but unfortunately it won't work on me. With that, he let out a furious roar. In an instant, a force immobilized me, leaving me unable to move. The host was completely stunned by this scene. This was the Blood Lion clan's exclusive bloodline skill, Blood Fury Lion's Roar. It can immobilize opponents within 5 meters for 25 seconds. Even Zhuang Weishui couldn't help but praise him. However, Wu Yu seemed a bit disappointed in me. Is that all you got? At that moment, Bloodclaw's attack landed. The blow instantly severed my right arm. As I pulled back, my right leg bone suddenly snapped. Bloodclaw saw this and burst into maniacal laughter. Now how do you want to die? However, he could never have known that everything was still within my control. The moment he stepped on my broken leg bone, my chance for a counterattack finally arrived. I threw my dagger at him. At the same time, my severed arm behind him moved. Thinking he had easily blocked my attack, he believed I was just struggling in my last moments. He didn't notice what was behind him. I immediately activated the backstab skill. 2 figures attacked from both the front and back simultaneously. In an instant, a dagger pierced through his body from behind. The next second, he fell to the ground. The audience in the stands was completely silent. Even Wu Yu and Zhuang Weishui were shocked. At this moment, Bloodclaw desperately called for help from the audience. However, just as I raised my hand to deliver the final blow, suddenly Zhuang Weishui on the observation platform snorted coldly. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Bloodclaw. He slowly raised his right hand. Then he lightly clenched it. My body was immediately disassembled by a terrifying force. In an instant, only my skull remained. Suddenly, a delicate hand blocked the force that was disassembling me. Wu Yu held my broken body in her hand. At the same time, a dark energy began to gather at her fingertips. This was one of her signature skills, the Heaven Blocking Finger. With a single point from her finger, a dark and terrifying beam shot out at lightning speed. It blasted a huge hole in the arena's wall. At this moment, Zhuang Weishui was in a very sorry state. Even his right arm had a massive wound. After this, Wu Yu immediately began to reconstruct my body. She arrogantly declared that I would now be her personal property. Soon my body was fully reconstructed. However, I stared in disbelief at my body. I found that the reconstructed body was even sturdier than before. At that moment, Wu Yu's fingertips began to gather dark energy again. She turned and grinning said to the two officials, "If you don't announce the result, I'll deal with both of you myself." The two officials were immediately scared and broke into a cold sweat. They no longer cared about the process. They quickly declared me the champion of the arena. One of the rewards was 5,000 experience, which immediately leveled me up to level 15. This allowed me to learn the skill Shadow Step. It permanently increases agility by 20%. The other reward was a level 15 epic dagger. After identifying it, the special attribute turned out to be the rare vampiric effect. Seeing this, the official couldn't help but show admiration. At this point, Wu Yu reminded them to start the Wind and Cloud Tribulation. Hearing this, I was completely confused. Was this match not over yet? The host immediately explained. The Wind and Cloud Arena is divided into two parts. After the champion is selected in the first part's arena match, the second part, the Wind and Cloud Tribulation, will begin. In this stage, the champion will be a limited boss who will hunt players. The champion will appear in the player world, and in the next 8 hours, the number of players killed will determine how much experience and contribution points they earn. Contribution points can be exchanged for advanced skills and equipment, and can also be used to increase one's rank. At this moment, Zhuang Wai Shui the wolf fox came over and began annoying Wu Yu. "I will report this to the city lord. You just want to get rid of me, seize military resources and then rebel." Wu Yu instantly became furious. "You old fool, it was you who disrupted the normal competition of the Wind and Cloud Arena. And now you're throwing dirt on me? Believe me, next time you go to war, I'll cut off your military supplies first." Seeing they were about to fight, the rabbit official and I hurriedly ran off to prepare for the next event. After all, if they actually fought, half the city would probably suffer. However, at that moment, Wu Yu's sharp gaze swept over. "Don't embarrass me. If you don't kill at least 1,000, don't come back." Hearing this, I quickly ran into the portal. Successful arrival. This mission was titled Blood Moonwalker. Immediately I appeared in the player world, and triggered the random achievement book quest. Kill 1,000 players to complete Wu Yu's Heartless Challenge. In an instant, the game announcement notified all players of a limited time boss appearance. "All players, please go and kill it." As a result, a few nearby players, who had just received the news, saw me. At that moment, the all-knowing bracelet on my wrist was activated. The current equipment quality was common. The quality increases every 10 levels, since it was activated for the first time. If the target is killed by this skill, you gain the skill, Hunter's Edge, dealing additional physical damage. If the target is killed by the skill, you will continue to strike random targets. This skill increases each time you kill an enemy with an additional 150% physical damage strike. It can also add an extra 150% damage slash with each kill. After reading the skill description, an idea suddenly came to me. If I lower the health of many enemies first, then use this skill, the damage will stack and turn into a god tier group skill. Suddenly several players attacked me at the same time, so I began testing my idea on them. I started with a basic attack. Then I used the skill Hunter's Edge. In an instant, 4 players were killed by my skill. At the same time, I gained 400 experience and 4 contribution points. Over the next period, large numbers of players arrived one after another, and without exception they all became my victims. In just half an hour, the number of players I killed reached 314. The ground was covered with the equipment they dropped. Sadly, I couldn't pick up the equipment dropped by the players. Why are they feeding me so quickly? So I had no choice but to send the coordinates to my third brother. I stood there stunned. Meanwhile, in a certain part of the forest, a young girl single-handedly killed a level 15 epic boss. Not only did her level rise to 18, but she also obtained a level 15 epic bracelet, Heart of Resistance. The additional attribute increases all player stats by 10 points. And when subjected to control skills, there is a 20% chance to increase resistance by 20 points. I was shocked when I saw this from the shadows. It was the first time I'd seen a player kill an epic boss solo. Then I learned from the guiding spirit that the girl's class was the hidden class Moonlight Knight among swordsmen. Suddenly Luna noticed someone nearby. The next second, 3 players with sinister smiles stepped out from the bushes. The leader, a bald man, immediately threatened, "Hand over the purple equipment you just looted and I'll spare you." However, Luna just smiled indifferently. "If you have the guts, try taking it from me." At these words, the 2 henchmen drew their swords and advanced toward her. But as soon as Luna unsheathed her long sword, the 2 henchmen were instantly overwhelmed by countless sword rays. Seeing this, the bald man immediately realized he was up against something he couldn't handle. But he still tried to stay calm and said, "I'm a key member of the Zhang Guild. If you dare touch me, you'll regret it." Before he could finish, his head was cleaved off by a sword ray. After finishing off the 3, Luna suddenly spoke. Have you seen enough? At this I stopped hiding. I immediately jumped down from the tree. At this moment the air seemed to be filled with a strong murderous intent. However, just as we were about to strike and finish off the enemies, two forces suddenly appeared around us. One was a group from an arrogant guild, and the other was a group of players hunting the boss. Seeing this, Luna and I immediately stopped our movements. We exchanged a glance. I ran away from the arrogant guild's group, and Luna fled from the boss hunters. Seeing this, both forces immediately prepared to chase their targets. However, the two groups collided with each other, neither willing to give way. This quickly led to a chaotic battle. At that moment, Luna and I turned back around. In an instant both forces suffered heavy losses. In retaliation, they began indiscriminate attacks. Soon everyone was left with barely any health. Seeing this, I immediately activated Hunter's Edge. Time seemed to slow as the forest echoed with endless screams. In the blink of an eye the number of kills I had reached 999. Next it was time for Luna and I to have our final battle. The next second our figures both charged toward each other. With a loud collision the sound echoed. The system then sent a notification. Congratulations, you have completed the random achievement quest. You have earned the mythic level equipment Phantom God's Earrings. This allows the wearer to change their race at will. It also grants the race's passive abilities and language proficiency. Congratulations, you have completed the Wind and Cloud Tribulation event. You have earned 1000 contribution points. The experience reward instantly leveled me up to level 1. I learned the skill, Rending Slash Blade. Using it enhances your next basic attack, dealing 180% physical damage to the target, and has a 20% chance to cause the target to enter a blood loss state. When I was teleported back to the Wind and Cloud Arena, the audience erupted in cheers. From the cannon fodder contestant I was at the beginning, to now being the champion of the Wind and Cloud Arena, this series of achievements made my name echo throughout the continent. Seeing this, Zhuang Weishui turned around in anger and left. However, Wu Yu's lips curled into a slight smile. Not bad, at least you didn't embarrass me. With that she raised her jade-like hand. She ripped open a dimensional portal right there. Follow me. Moments later in the Blood Moon City's Bloodpool secret realm, two figures stepped out from the crack. The scene in front of me left me completely dumbfounded. Wu Yu, seeing my clueless expression, immediately explained. Player attributes depend on their bloodline and the grade of their equipment. And your bloodline is of the lowest quality. However, this blood pool can help you evolve your bloodline. How much it evolves depends on your luck. Meanwhile, inside the Northern Moon Hall, Zhuang Weishui was still fuming with anger. If it weren't for that useless fool from the Blood Lion clan, I wouldn't have been humiliated in front of so many people. But the elder beside him said, this might not be entirely a bad thing. The Blood Lion clan has long intended to ally with our master. Now our master went so far as to be wounded to protect their descendants. This will surely strengthen their loyalty. As for Wu Yu, though we can't openly act against her, old servant has a way to enrage her. The elder then explained the entire plan to Zhuang Weishui. Zhuang Weishui immediately agreed to this scheme. Meanwhile, I had already begun absorbing the power from the blood pool. The speed at which I absorbed the energy moved Wu Yu, even causing her to take notice. But just then, the city lord's personal guard arrived unexpectedly. They claimed that the city lord had ordered Wu Yu to immediately head to the main city. Wu Yu initially wanted to delay for a few days, but the captain immediately presented the city lord's blood summoning order. Anyone who defies the order will be executed without mercy. Upon seeing the token, Wu Yu finally gave up resisting. But before she left, she reminded me to stay safe. The next moment I absorbed the blood pool's energy even faster. In an instant an energy vortex formed above my head. At the same time a golden light sphere slowly began to take shape. As time passed, the energy started to envelop me. Meanwhile, several figures appeared on the mountaintop. They were the shadow assassins sent by Zhuang Weishui to carry out the assassination mission. With a signal from their leader, all the assassins charged toward the light sphere in the center of the blood pool. But Blood Yu had already detected their plot. However, she didn't intervene to stop the assassination. She simply found an excellent vantage point to sit and watch. The captain of the guard immediately asked her what this meant. Wu Yu, however, calmly responded, "Don't rush. The show is about to begin." Meanwhile, one assassin slashed at the energy light sphere above the blood pool. The moment the light sphere exploded, it formed an energy vortex. Then a figure slowly stepped out of the vortex. The assassins were stunned upon seeing this scene. I clearly struck him just now. Why is he completely unharmed? We'll explain later. First let's finish him off. In the blink of an eye they became afterimages and rushed toward me. But at that moment my bloodline had completed its evolution. My pure white short hair and the unique diamond shape immediately raised my aura to its peak. The two assassins were stunned upon seeing this. They were about to warn others to be cautious. But in the next second they were decapitated. The Shadow Squad leader was stunned upon seeing this. The intelligence said he was just a level 15 low-level Karami.